So our next presenter is architect Muchammad Cora, who is a community architect and coordinator in Makassar, South Sulawesi, Indonesia. So the programs that he helped establish in Makassar in 2010 focused on mainstreaming participatory and community-driven projects for marginalized communities. So today he will be presenting his paper titled Grassroot Community Involvement as an Architectural Criticism in Informal Communities in the City of Makassar.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for inviting me. And I'm start to present what we have do in Makassar. So I want to explain what we have do in Makassar since 2010. We have made this project for around almost 12 years here. What we do is some we can call like a kampung in Indonesian language, and this is what is Arko Makassar. Arko Makassar formed in 2010, group of architect, planner, and anthropology, social community organizer, and we try to use architectural knowledge as an entry point to unravel and answer community problems from non-physical aspects like economy, social, cultural, politician, and physical aspect like land illegality, housing, clean water, infrastructure, etc. in urban village in Makassar, which are geographic located on the coast of river and sea. Okay. Next, this is our project. We have around 8 projects in Makassar, and also have 2 projects in district, one of the district in South Sulawesi. So in the Makassar, like when AUN-ADERA contact us, is we show the Macini Sombala Kampung Pisang that we have relation with CAN, Community Architect Network also. And then when we work in several fields, we have a lot of relation like NGO, government also, and then university also. And next. This is the concept from top-bottom method, what before government way. When government want to have some project for housing or repairing environment in Makassar. The government way always want to repairing the housing. So they start from basic issue, fulfilling basic need, and then housing. But the project is just three variables like house renovation, informal settlement, eviction, and beautification settlement. The impact from the government way is sometimes program rejected by community, and then from the project also community have no ownership and also downgrading community value. The reason is complicating economic access not have resolved from government way, and then government always have just one single solution, and top-bottom method, less participation from the community. Eventually, the factor in the field, community has informal community or vulnerable situation, and they they in survival mode, and then community always seen as an object, and community also have a view about materialism. This is the situation in the community, with the top bottom that the government cannot see what happened in the real community. And this situation between from 1970 until 2000. What the different what we have do between government way? We still have same purpose. We try to looking for basic need, but this is the difference. When the government way is jump to fulfilling basic need, we, from our experience around 10 years, we have some method, we have some knowledge what we have to. ARCOM want to bridge access in the community, get community get access. The purpose is sovereignty, reduce, and interdependency. What kind of access? Like this: politic aspiration, politic leisure, about reflection from community, politic of space, land, water, and air, politic about economy, politic of social, like horizontal and vertical relation, and also politic of culture about information and knowledge. How it's work? What we do is reorganizing personal and collective life system in the community. Each household can understand their physical and non-physical aspect. But the principle is they must get awareness to involve its household and awareness to collective household. That's become participate way, and the level participate from community until control phase. So we use participate way is as not like a formal way. We come the architect going to kampung, going to community, and try to come. Let's go. We think together. We solve this problem. How the community and or architect give solution from community. Not like that. The participate ARCOM mean is become from community based on their awareness about his life situation. And then after that, we start from housing. But how we think housing, but have relate with food, with clothes, with education, with healthy. So that's why when we work with community, we searching for intangible and tangible aspect. Tangible aspect like house, infrastructure, and settlement. But the important thing is we cannot forget about intangible aspect like knowledge revitalization, economy management, social revitalization, health revitalization, and politicalization. The impact is increase their ownership, visible and useful, responsible from community. And then the reason, comprehensive social economic environment, increasing knowledge for self-organizing and community management, lots of alternative solutions that community can negotiate with other stakeholders. So this is the big concept what we have do with community in Makassar. So I want to explain in the next slide. So where is architecture knowledge and architect position? As usual, like government way or a lot of stakeholders And I think university also doing like this. The architecture knowledge and architect just want to focus about this physically aspect. They don't want to explore what what the root of problem. The architect and architecture knowledge always get a jump to doing something about the physically approach. But in ARCOM, the position architecture and architect is think all of the step, all of the component like this. And also architecture with architecture knowledge work with multidisciplinary knowledge, sociology, community organizer, anthropology, economy, health, and law. And the principle is when we work with community, status community becomes subject, not object. And then we also respond positive what knowledge community common. And when we work with community, there is no superior knowledge. So we have balanced knowledge with architecture, with anthropology, economy, health. So there is no authority architect to just like become like this. No, we cannot do like that. Because if we do like that, I'm sure 100% the community will refuse us. This is the phase and step work with community. So I think the others have pattern like this. So but this is normally when we go we work with community, we have 5 phases. The first phase, the important point, how we can integration with community, how we live in at community field. Because if stranger come to community, the community, who are you? What do you want here? And I think 100% we can refuse from community. So the important thing, how we can integrate it with community and we live in community field. And then after that, the purpose is in line with community, understanding situation, the community, knowing to each other. This is important thing when we work to community. And then after that, we going mapping macro environment and micro housing, mapping non-physics and physics variable. For mapping, we use everything what community can do. They can use paper, they just can use a tree, a leaf, anything. And then the purpose is everyone can talk. So right, draw the big map, reduce or adding some information, looking for specific issue like gender issue, political issue, economic issue. After that, we're looking for analysis and validation, and then searching problems, searching issue, validation. This type is work with our community, involved in each step. The purpose for analysis and validation issue is clarify and validation all input, classify the data based at situation, and clean it and objective data, reduce fallacy thinking. Because we find a lot of fallacy thinking and at community. And then the step phase is planning non-physics variable, planning physics variable. We propose upgrading social capital, upgrading cultural capital, produce blueprint based on agreement between community, and then propose also improving life system for community, collective alternative, and creative solution from community. After that, we make synthesis, priority program, and then step next is advocation implementation, or we do implementation and advocation. And then after that, we're going to evaluation, monitoring, and finding alternative strategy. So this is the important thing, how to architecture become some tools to get advocation about policy to government or other stakeholder. This is important thing what we have to in Alco Makassar. So this is a relation architect knowledge to others. How the impact architecture about economy. The principle when we work in a community is how architecture can reduce development fund expenditure. What we can do, space requirement and layout, really thinking about that, building material, building structure system, system utility, drainage, and disposal system, optimization strategy for electricity, water use. Aspect social strength and social capital, horizontal and vertical, what we can do, construction method. We involve to a lot of community to help us to going what we want to make together, and distribution of role between community. Relate architecture with politics is how architecture can policy advocate. Research of community planning are used to advocate policy regarding informal settlement to the government, open collaboration to other stakeholders. And also how to relate architecture with the environment is care for availability of natural resource. And this is how university can involvement. The first point is involving student in the form of internship for 3 months with a time that is adjusted to the class schedule and student directly interacting with resident. 75%, 25, we carry out an evaluation and reflection process on what has been obtained in the field. The student involved are architecture, urban planning student, anthropology, law, economy, and environment. And point 3, even though the campus often adjusts course material with our institution activity, we still open up opportunity for inter-course and even cross-knowledge internship. And about the student role. The first point, the student role is carry out the integration process with the community involved in the process of organizing at the community level. We conduct formal or informal meeting with the community. 4, conduct formal meeting with government structure. 5, synchronize with formal knowledge obtained from campus. 6, carry out the mapping process informally with the community. 7, actively involved in the process of analyzing problems faced by the community. And 8, actively involved in the community planning process. What the benefit and challenge when we involving the student? The benefit is, the point 1 is enlarge the circle of resources who have the ability to think critical about the perspective practice of architecture in Makassar. Balancing the number of community when we are already working with the community to be actively involved in every process of working with the community. And the point 3 is increase opportunity to find strategy, formula for perspective and way of working with the community. And this is the important is what is the challenge? The point 1, adding a perspective and way of working together with community that does not tend to jump into things they are physically designed. This is the architect student always doing when we work with community. And the point 2 is inviting architecture students to have ability to think comprehensive, multidiscipline in relation to other cross knowledge, because factual in the field, the problem faced by the community are not only about the design. 3, change the perspective of architecture students that working with informal community is not just a mere ceremonial formality for the needs of certain subject existential. However, this is learning effort that is directly dealing with the reality of living in the informal community. Next, inviting students to reach trace of architectural idea and practice relate to settlement in Indonesia, Asia, and even the world. And the next point is changing the way of the field, which is always based on legal formal land. Architecture students tend to be banned by the campus if they make effort to work together with community that are on illegal land. This is my personal experience from my university. And next, changing the way of working that always begin with a concept, but depart from the factual situation at hand. That architecture, when going to the kampung and had a lot of concept, but I think when the concept is going to implementation, 100% cannot success. And then next step is changing the perspective of students and the general public that the community is not an object, but a subject. University especially, and how we can collaborate with university, how we can collaboration with university. I think the first point from our experience is university, especially the architecture department, willing to open themselves to understanding the situation faced by the community, especially the informal community, and willing to take strategic steps to reformulate an architectural curriculum that tend to be positivistic and lacking in critical exploration aspect to architectural idea and practice that are more typical and contextual and take a role. And point two, a more active and sustainable approach does not just make the informal community an object of research without being able to provide system benefit to what the informal community face. The Department of Architecture open up opportunity for continuing discourse on the practice of informal settlement, architecture, and return this knowledge to the community as an effort for residents to simultaneously improve their life independently. The spirit of collaboration that is work is the spirit of collaboration to construct knowledge of the reality of informal community. The form is simultaneous collaboration, but in the process of knowledge construction discourse up to implementation that is able to provide systemic benefit to the living system in informal communities. The architecture department with a more specialist division in particular is willing and has a great intention to get involved and cooperate with this situation, has its own department which consists of representatives of citizens from several informal communities and works up to the pace of community sustainability. This is like AUN-ADERA doing like now. Establishes, and the next point is, the last point is establish sustainable collaboration with a patient for building knowledge construction epistemology in a multidisciplinary manner that is capable of policy advocate at the government level. So the university can also have consider to make a document, and that document can become hub to advocate what community doing to the government. I think that's all my presentation. Thank you.